In this episode, we are exploring a massive defunct coal power plant. With its still intact interior, this really was a unique peak in a coal power plant. Join us and discover the former past of this coal-powered behemoth. With having no clue how to actually get inside or the presence of security, we carefully venture on onto the terrain.
Hier een licht.
Just 10 minutes on the compound and we already came across our first questionable obstacle. This was this caravan. We weren't sure if someone lived in this caravan. Luckily, nobody heard us, and so we continued our search for an entrance. We need to skip the following part though. This is to protect the location from vandalism or scrappers. So nevertheless, we finally got into the boiler house of this power plant. In this part, the coal was burned to generate steam. This boiler house was really dark though, and felt somewhat like a really dusty, long maze. Finally, we discovered a staircase, which we hope to be leading to the more interesting turbine hall.
Dit lijken kantoortjes hier ook beneden. Denk je ook niet?
Ja, dat denk ik ook.
Toen was ik daar even naartoe, denk ik.
So after a ton of floors and a lot of guessing where the main floor was, we got into what looked like the correct place.
Kantoortjes. Wow.
And we were right. This near monumental big open space is the Grand Turbine Hall. With its two high-capacity turbines, which were produced by AEG, this truly was one of the most impressive power plants I've ever been in. The function of these big machines with many pipes was to convert steam from the boiler house into electricity. This happened at a whopping 473 megawatt in total, which is the equivalent to over 300,000 households. The question you may have right now is why this massive plant with this big output could close down. For this we have to go back to pre-war Germany. At this time the need for electricity in this heavily industrialized area was growing at a rapid rate. So a brand new facility was built to deliver this electricity. The power plant was finished around 1942, in the middle of the Second World War. Even with this war raging, the never opened power station was luckily never bombed. 4 years later it finally could be opened, and ran successfully. At the end of the 1960s the plant was expanded with a brand new wing, where we are standing in right now. But except for that, the facility ran without any problems until its closure. Our next objective was to find the control room of this facility. But well, unfortunately the control room was a modern unit and not a classical mechanical one, which you'll sometimes find in these old stations.
Appelsap. Ja, lekker. Oh, moet je dit eens zien. Hier, brandt nog wat. Het lijkt wel heel leuk om gewoon naar mijn moeder te bellen of zo. Via deze.
So we decided to leave behind this part and head over to the original part of this facility. Here we were greeted by these big windows, which gave off a nice, calm atmosphere on this big minty turbine. This big turbine is a rather special one though. This was due that it was built by a collaboration between AEG and the Union, which was a steel making company at the time. This resulted on the name Kraftwerk Lünen. Kraftwerk stands for power plant in German. Next to this machine we also noticed this. Containers full of copper cables. This refers to the ongoing demolition works, which is proceeding rapidly. With this discovery, we also decided to make our way out of this former power station. While walking, we were noticed by a group of older men who began yelling at us. So we started running away, back into the building we came from. We did this because Germans are most of the time not so pleased of intruders in their industrial buildings. So after waiting for around 15 minutes, we decided to head out, as fast as possible. After a lot of carefully looking and sprinting on the terrain, we finally got out successfully. The combustion of coal is the most pollutive source of energy in the world, so closing these former dinosaurs seems to be the logical options. With this movement, these massive, iconic structures are quickly disappearing all over the world. This will also be the case for this place.